Alright guys, morning, and we're back with another video. In fact, I just want to see if I can test this out. So I have, you can't change camera midway through. So basically right in front of me, looking down the lens here, is my iPhone. So I'm using the new Apple iPhone. Which one looks better? So I'm going to film the rest of it on my iPhone. I'm going to put it back in a second. But which looks better? This one or that one? We'll find out. See what you think. Have a look. Comment in the thing below. I should make a poll on it. I wonder if you can do polls on videos. We'll find out. Because I think the iPhone camera is slightly higher quality than the Mac camera, because I'm not setting up all the camera equipment just to sit here. Although, as you can see, the window's a little bit foggier today. Is that fog or is that... Yeah, it is. It's really foggy today, the window, and it's because it's just got a little bit colder. And I've got my hat on, and you might be thinking, man, you look like a moron in that hat. You might not. But that brings me nicely onto what I was going to talk about this morning, and I got my coffee. Which is this, okay? I refuse to put my central heating on. Now, I refuse to put central heating on all the time anyway, and it's generally not a price thing. I don't really care about that. It's every time I put the central heating on, I get ill. Every single year, central heating goes on, boom, I get something. No matter what. I reckon, and this is total conspiracy nonsense, and I don't really believe this, but there's viruses that build up on the back of the radiators, and then you turn the heating on and boom, they go out into the air and you get sick. But yeah, every single year, and so I will never put the heating on if I can help it. And it's got a little bit cold. But I submitted because I won't get a smart meter. I don't want one. I don't want my life to be that run by anybody. So I submitted my energy readings yesterday. And oh, lo and behold, I got an energy return. Bearing in mind, I've been having cold baths this month. Barely used I haven't turned the heating on. I don't have a gas cooker. And oh, my energy bills went up. Crazy. Basically didn't use any, but up it went. So now it is about money. I don't want to spend the money, and I'm guessing, not guessing, I know everyone is feeling this. We've had this sudden explosion, and yesterday, so I saw a tweet, I'll bring it up now, about how in England or in Europe, it's one or the other, or both, we're running out of wood burning stoves. And as it happened, so back in February, I started saying we're going to have an energy crisis next year. It's going to be bad, really bad. And I bought a wood burning stove back then, and everyone said I was a bit mad, and I said, I'm not mad. I said, we're going to have problems next year. No one's going to be able to afford fuel, and I don't want to have to buy a wood burning stove when everyone's buying wood burning stoves, and the price skyrockets. And the price has skyrocketed. So I looked for places that had them in stock. There wasn't many, and those that had, what would have been like £400, £500, £600. So, you know, add 1.2% to that for you US people. Because I think it's like $1.15 to a pound. They have skyrocketed in price. They've gone up. Like, cheapest one I saw was £800, £700, something like that, and that's crazy because I got mine for a few £100. So I was right, and I can't put it in my flat, but I have installed it in my van. So my van is I've got a really cool van with a tent on it, etc, etc, etc. But I did that purposefully. I could literally put it in here if I wanted. I could plumb it in and set it up. That's not a problem. But my reasoning behind it was this: if you haven't got electricity, what difference does it make? It doesn't make any difference whether you're in a house or in a van. It makes no difference. You're not going to have lights on. And so now I really may be sounding like a conspiracy theorist or an alarmist or whatever, but Europe has a major problem, a huge problem, and I've been saying this all year. And rather than focus on the problem, I figured I'd tell you about the solutions I've been working on. And if you're now looking at this energy crisis and you're thinking, what solutions can I have? Here are mine. So Firstly, I never explained, so the hat's to keep me warm. By the way, if you've never seen me before, because I'm going to do it, I'm bald. And bald people, we get cold in the winter and we have to protect our heads in the summer because otherwise we get skin cancer on our heads. So no matter what, it's... There we go. It's all about protecting the old head. So what am I doing? So all year I was buying food anyway, long life food. So I have 70 tins of tuna. I have about 70 cans of different beans. I've just been buying them bit by bit. So when I go to the supermarket, I just add a couple of extra, and piece by piece it just filters into what I have. I've got a big bag of flour. Now flour isn't actually long life, it's got about a year. But so if I don't need to, so I'm not even eating carbs at the moment, but I eventually will go back to carbs. And if for some reason I don't need it in the next 3 months, I'll start making bread and pizza bases, etc, etc, etc. So it won't go to waste. I will not allow that to go to waste. And the tuna, if I don't use it anytime soon, I'll start cycling it because I do eat tins of tuna, so I'll start cycling some out and replenishing from the back. Beans the same, because I'll just start making Mexican food, etc. So, you know, like fajitas. If you're Mexican going, we don't all eat fajitas. I know you don't all eat fajitas. You know, burritos as well. But yeah, so I'm going to be cycling my food through. And then I also learn, so I've got things I can axe, so I can provide myself with wood. And yeah, so I'm just prepping in those kind of ways. I've worked out a water filtration system, so I can just drink river water, so I've got that sorted, so I could, all those different things. Now, again, people were saying, Sam, you're such an alarmist, but then recently in the Mirror, someone really famous in the UK called Dan Snow, the boy Snow, there's Ed Snow, there's the Daddy Snow and Son Snow, I can't remember. But anyway, he did an article in the Mirror saying about how, you know, through this energy crisis, we may end up having to do stuff like this. And I was like, well, I've been prepped for this all summer. I've been ready for it, waiting for it to come. If it doesn't happen, great. I don't want it to happen. I'm just saying, if you're looking at this, look at long life, and now you'll go, but what if the shelves suddenly empty? Right, so just slowly do it. You don't have to go and spend loads of money and do it. Just make sure you're ready for a few days. The other thing, I've got, the one thing I've gone heavy on, because it just like never goes off, I've got 4 10-kilo bags of rice. That's a lot of rice. I mean, that is a hell of a lot of rice. But it's cheap. If you're English, 16, 17 pounds a bag. Don't go to Tesco and buy it because it's expensive in there. Go to a Premier. So like, generally on your high street, you'll have maybe a Turkish or an Arabic or an Asian shop. And they have them in sacks and they're cheaper. Much cheaper. And they'll have a really good range of rice. So, you know, it's not just the classic, basmati rice or whatever. You've got a great range of rice. And that's really like the best way to go about it. And then you're thinking, well, what if I can't cook? Well, you can cook your rice because all it needs is water. And if you've got a wood burning stove, you've got to pot rice, stick some tuna in, stick some beans in. Oh, and I've got about 6 kilos of salt. So, which I don't know what that would be in pounds, but about 13 pounds, 14 pounds of salt. And it just gives me the ability to sustain myself through what could be some bad days. I can jump in my van. I've kept my truck completely full of diesel. And I've got a few spare cans. I'm saying all of this. Hopefully, if you're in America, you're also paying attention to this because you're also facing a fuel crisis. And while all of this, none of this is over the top, because why wouldn't you just have a few supplies? I'm not doomsday prepping. I'm not prepping for doomsday. I'm just prepping for maybe a bad week here or a bad week there where they do rolling blackouts, because that's also in the UK news, potential rolling blackouts. You know, with no Russian energy coming in, it's very difficult to not see that coming. So just a recommendation. store only what you need. Put it out of sight, out of mind. Don't think about it. Don't spend too much, but just have like a bit of a supply. Like, what could go wrong with that? What could go wrong with that? You can just shift it through, move from the back, as in like a conveyor belt of food, because like tuna cans. But recently, what have we seen? Eggs in the UK, low demand. Why? The supermarkets are squeezing it. I'm not jumping on board with the conspiracy theories that, you know, they're killing off farms and etc. And the reason I'm not going to jump on board with that is, whether it's true or not, I can't prove it. I can see news articles, I can see what people are talking about, but I personally cannot prove it. So I'm not jumping on board with it. I've just put it to the back of my head and gone, look, it's a possibility. Equally, that could be conspiracy theories floating around on the internet. All I need to know is there a potential energy crisis? Definitely. What can I do in reaction to that? And so can you. You can literally do it. Prep. Just think it through. What's the worst case scenario? Well, the worst case scenario is all food goes to zero and we're all screwed. Well, in which case it won't matter how much you've prepped. Eventually you're going to run out. You can't prep for an infinite food shortage. Best case scenario, it's a few days here and a few days there. The supermarkets get raided, but you were ready at home with a decent pantry or larder. And don't store stupid things like bread, but flour, great. Because if you've got a little oven, because my wood burning stove has got an oven to the side of it, and you can just make your bread or whatever, just see yourself through it, it'd be fine, you'll be fine. And also, obviously, if you're going to do that, if fuel is low, you do need some logs to get yourself through it. So make sure you have some logs as well. Simple as that. Or coal. Just for a few days, just to get yourself through a few days. If it gets worse than that, there is literally trees everywhere. There's trees everywhere. So there you go. And if you've got a full tank of fuel, you're not going to worry about it, because you could probably get, like my thing could get me about 400 or 500 miles on one tank of fuel. So that might be an exaggeration. 70 times 10. Oh no, so I could, yeah, 70 times 8. So I could get whatever that is. 7 times 8, 7, 7, 49, 50, 560 miles, give or take. So it's pretty cool. That's my advice. It's 13 minutes of your life. Don't let fear creep in, ever. Fear is, so like if it does start to get difficult, do not panic. Don't race down to a supermarket. That is the biggest mistake people make. Wherever people are going, you want to go away from that location. So if they're racing to a supermarket, race to a small corner shop. Don't race to the supermarket. That's the worst thing you can do. Go where people are not going, because that's where you'll find stuff. If you go where people are going, that place is raided. You like, by the time you get in, gone. Okay, never go where people are. And that's where you're most likely to find trouble. People who run out of food suddenly get desperate and they see you in Tesco and you come out with your bags of shopping. Boom. Worst place you can go. Go where people don't go. Think, okay? Think like the local foreign community in your nearest area would go. So like for me, I live in a predominantly white English area. But so I know that, let's say 80% of my population is white English. So what do they think? They go Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda, because that's what predominantly white English people think when they think food shopping. But my minority communities go, no, I'm going to my local Turkish store, or my local Pakistani store, or my local, whatever the store might be. That's what they do. Think like that. Do not think like what your average citizen would do, because that's where the problems are going to be. That I promise you. Whereas local communities will always look after each other. And if you're already going there now, getting to know them, supporting them, buying their produce, they'll treat you as one of their own. They will treat you as one of their own. It's always the case. I go into some of my local shops now, just down the road here, and they know my face, they know who I am, they smile at me, they know I'm okay. So I've been supporting their businesses. So when hard times come, what they're going to do. Last 2 years ago, when we had the toilet paper crisis, I'd built a relationship up in a little shop in the middle of nowhere in the countryside, and I didn't do the rush to buy toilet paper. I went, I've got loads, and eventually I ran out. And I went into the local little store in the countryside, and they said, oh, don't worry, we've got you sorted. And they supplied me with some toilet paper, and they said, we only supply locals with this. We've got a secret supply. But they supplied me because I'd already built a relationship up with them. Yeah, that's my recommendation. Build relationships up in your local neighbourhood. Neighbourhood supports neighbourhood if you build that friendship up. And if you live in a big city, your shop is still someone local to you. Your local shop. Go in there, make sure you give them patronage. Don't go to Tesco. They don't know who you are. They don't care who you are. You are a number buying a product. Don't trust that. So that's my advice for today. And that's my daily video. There we go. Look forward to tomorrow, and hopefully we have a great day. See you soon. Arrivederci.